Whether you realize it or not, your brand is telling a story. The question is it intentional? Is it on purpose? And is it effective? Many people talk about telling their story better, but few follow an actual proven framework to do so. That's why we became a StoryBrand certified marketing agency to apply Donald Miller's Building a StoryBrand framework to the businesses that we serve. Through this framework, we guide brands through a 7-part sequence that truly maps out their ideal brand story and draws preferred customers to their front door. In that framework, there are 7 essential ingredients that every brand needs to follow in order to mix the recipe for an effective story. It begins with asking the question, what does the main character want? Number 2, what problems are at stake? Number 3, who's the guide that can display the empathy and the authority necessary to guide that main character forward? Number 4, the guide needs to lay out a clear 3-step plan for the character to follow so that they can ultimately resolve their issue and win the day. And then step 5 is a clear call to action. What action is the brand asking the main character to take? And then 6 and 7 is the contrast. This is where we have the reminder of what stakes are at play that ultimately inspire success. Those 7 essential ingredients are critical to a well-told story, and the Building a StoryBrand framework organizes them in a simple model called the brand script. Now, for those of you who are self-implementing the StoryBrand framework in your companies, there's a couple of pro tips I wanted to point out to you. The biggest issue that I see with folks that fill out this brand script for themselves is, number 1, they make the whole story about them rather than their ideal customer. So remember, you've got to put yourself in the mind frame of the ideal client or customer that you want to attract first and foremost. And then once that's established, the key area that I see most confused is the problem section. Pro tip for you is that the problem is the story. Sometimes brands avoid talking about the problem because they feel like it's too negative or dark. But the reality is that your ideal client is faced with a problem. These are the problems that they are Google searching, they're talking to their neighbors about, they're talking to their relatives about. The problem is essentially the issue that they're trying to solve when they come into your website or they attend your event. So if you're not talking about the problem, you're really missing the opportunity to connect. So in the problem, there are really 3 layers of problem you need to consider: the external, the internal, and the philosophical problem. Another pro tip here, most folks answer those 3 questions, the external, the internal, and philosophical problems, as if they are 3 separate problems. They are not. They are one problem in 3 dimensions. So pro tip for you here is that the external problem is something that you could point to. It's objectively true. You point to the external problem. If I were to walk into a doctor's office and point at my knee, I could say, "Doctor, I have knee pain. It hurts." And I could point directly to the knee. It's objectively true. It's an external problem. My knee hurts. I have knee pain. Now that is defining our external. Now moving to the internal. The question we ask here is, how does the external problem make me feel? As the main character, how does the external problem make this person feel emotions-wise? Do yourself a favor and do a Google search for this phrase, emotions wheel, like W-H-E-E-L, the emotions wheel. You'll find a wide variety, almost like a thesaurus, with a variety of different emotions found within it that can help you map out, because fear and anger and also happiness and joy are some of the easiest emotions for somebody to feel, which is why babies and toddlers express those. But in our adult minds, as we grow, those emotions and feelings become much more complex. So how does the external problem make the main character feel? Those are the words you're looking for when you're defining the internal problem. So I could point to the knee pain and say, "Doctor, I have knee pain." External. Makes me feel insecure on the running track. Insecurity is the internal problem that is precipitated by the knee pain. And now third, external, internal, then third, philosophical problem. Why is it just plain wrong that these problems exist? Why is that just plain wrong? Nobody should surrender a healthy life to pain. Philosophical problem. The goal of the philosophical problem is to get everybody's heads shaking up and down in the audience to say, yeah, you're right. So again, in phraseology, would say, you want to live a healthy lifestyle and you want to run freely around the track. The problem is today I got knee pain, which makes me feel insecure. But the reality is that nobody should surrender a healthy life to pain. Now we've got stakes at play. We've got a true problem defined in the character's story, which cues them up to be ready for the guide to enter in and display the empathy and the authority to help. So hopefully this blesses you and your small business as you're mapping out your brand script. And of course, if you need help, that's what our agency is for. Feel free to reach out and schedule a call, and look forward to seeing you on the other side. Take care.